Makhosi. I decided to make this quick video for those of you who, just to apologize, number one, for the pop sound that I had in the previous video. I apologize, Makhosi. I apologize. It is not right. Kaizer Chiefs channel or Kaizer Chiefs supporters do not deserve the nonsense I provided. So for that, I say apologize. But before I get into the match summary, just to have a better sounding video, I am going to get into this. Before I get there, like, comment, and subscribe. Still support the channel, guys. Support. You know, in an ideal world, I would be just making content. But other than that, I still have to make money in other ways, guys. You know, life is tough. So let's get into it. Guys, I want to sum up a lot of the points of the game yesterday. Try to do it in less than 10 minutes. And this is what I'm going to say. First, our defense has been some of the best defending we have seen from Chiefs in a long time. We are not going to take away from the fact that we have 2 clean sheets in the past 2 games, and that is amazing. And one could even stretch it to Asan Tokotoko because we didn't concede in that game as well. So that's a positive, a very, very, very big positive. Our defense is holding strong. McCarthy and Miguel are starting to show a good partnership, even though Miguel must stop doing childish things. Like Miguel must start acting more like a leader. And then Cross and Marco played very well. And then Frosler and Munyani also played very well. There's certain elements of our game in defense that I don't like. And it feels like this game was a big question mark now, this game. Because almost 70% of the teams we're going to play are going to set up like Polokwane City with this low block, and they're going to hit us on counters. And there's going to be days where they'll figure out a way to score on those counters. I think if you watch Marumo Gallants versus Pirates, Marumo basically did the same thing to Pirates. And we saw how both of the goals that Pirates basically conceded came from basically these situations where Pirates has most of the ball possession, missing lots of chances. Then this team has one good chance. They kick the ball in the right area, they score. And those are the things we don't want to see at Chiefs. And so Chiefs needs to figure out a way to not have a lot of gaps between midfield and defense, and for the players who are closing down to close down properly. When I say close down properly, I'm saying if our striker presses the defender or the keeper, what needs to happen is that there has to be 2 phases that happen at once. The second phase is that our midfield also has to close down where the ball goes after we pass that person. Because what tends to happen is that the ball will go to Polokwane City's midfielders, and then the midfielders just hit long balls behind, and then it jumps our whole midfield and goes to the attacker, and it either goes into the pockets that Munyani is in or Cross is in, or it goes directly to the striker in the front. And then that's the second phase. The second phase is when that ball happens, we need to ensure, number one, either our defenders win the first ball, meaning the first header that comes in, so we win that ball, or we are able to guide it to a Chiefs player. I think you'll see that a lot with McCarthy. McCarthy is actually winning a lot of his aerial duels in terms of that. So that's a good thing I'm saying about McCarthy. And he's able to direct the aerial duel to a Kaizer Chiefs player. Second part of the phase still is, even if Polokwane City gets the ball, there has to be a second phase where our midfielders are also reacting to that long ball, meaning that there has to be a certain section of our midfield that presses, and there has to be a certain section of our midfield that helps to cover the defense. And the problem with Chiefs sometimes is that sometimes we are pressing too much, or we get lost in getting sucked in by the team who's playing a low block. That what tends to happen is that there ends up being a big gap between our defenders and our midfielders, because our midfielders are doing their best to unlock this team, and they're pushing the ball, and they're going deeper into the opposition half. Then you find that there are moments where Kaizer, Tetra and them are close to the 18-yard area, and our defenders are there by the halfway line, but they're chilling there with 2 to 3 Polokwane City players. And what happens is that when Polokwane gets the ball, they just knock the ball once behind Abo Miguel, and it's now panic mode because Abo Mtetwa now need to run box to box. And we need to figure out a way to cover that, because how I feel like we need to cover it is we need to cover it by our attackers. Our attackers are not doing enough. And a lot of you are going to say, what do you mean our attackers when you talk about defense? If you watch how Chiefs was trying to penetrate that low block, our attackers ran out of ideas and they started drawing our midfielders into the game, into the attacking zones, because they didn't know how to move these guys around. One of the reasons is that our attackers lack movement. They run into the wrong spaces. They run into an area that doesn't make sense. Like, for example, what I want from Duba is I don't always want Duba to run towards the ball. No. Duba, keep running behind them, or keep running, but stay in the box. Like, make it present. Make it difficult for these guys in the box. Another thing I want is that if we are attacking on the left, right? If we are attacking on the left, what I want is that if Lilepo is the right winger, I don't want Lilepo to be on the line there on the right wing. I want him to join and support Uduba. So we have two players in the box. So if Serino crosses the ball or something like that, we have at least two players right in the stomach of the team, and we can find a way to score. Because then what happens is that when Lilepo goes in, what we do is that Mtetwa will move closer to the area that Lilepo is now leaving exposed. And that's how you cover those spaces. I hope it makes sense. I hope in a video that I want to do more analytical videos and show you what I want Chiefs to do. But other than that, second half was a better performance from Chiefs. One thing I like about our technical team, I mentioned this yesterday, our technical team is making in-game adjustments and they're making good halftime adjustments. And it's showing. It's not like last season. Last season, we would see a problem from the first minute and would carry that problem all the way to the 90th minute. With this current technical team that we have, and I don't want to blame it on Nabi or whatever the case may be, but I'm just saying currently, the current guys who are sitting on the bench, what they do is they analyze the game, and maybe it's even the analysts who are sitting back, maybe they're even getting better. But what happens is that they pick out our weak areas, how we're getting exposed by Polokwane City, and they plug it. Like, for example, they added Ungobo into the game for a specific reason. Mtetwa and Ucele, yes, defensively, they were helping, but the ball was not advancing enough. So sometimes when your midfield is struggling to get the ball to the attackers, it gives the opposition more chance to attack you. So that's why when we had Ungobo, the right side of our midfield started working, whereas in the first half, what happened is that we had Ucele playing more on the left. We have Mtetwa more central, but he had to be basically the outlet for the right side of the midfield. But it wasn't happening until Ungobo came in. Something I think the Kaizer Chiefs technical team may need to consider is they need to figure out a way to have a 10 that plays between 8 and 10. And why I say that is like there has to be certain moments where we have a 10 that doesn't just run behind defenders, but a 10 that becomes a midfielder, that almost becomes an 8. And I think that's an element of our game we were missing yesterday, especially because we had Serino and Mdu playing almost a double number 10 in the game. But there were moments and areas where you just felt like one of them must drop in the middle and just come and support that side of Mtetwa that Mtetwa can't really accommodate, And because Serino was playing a very slow game, I was wanting it to be him more. I wanted him to be the brains who comes, collects it deep, and then finds Shabalala making the infield runs. Trust Shabalala to do the running. You, Serino, do the thinking. That's what I wanted to see in that moment. Well done to Ndlovu on his debut goal. Ndlovu did something I was wanting on Duba. A lot of you took taking what I said the wrong way. One thing I said about Duba, I never said Duba is a bad striker. I said Duba had a bad game because he didn't have a striker's game. It's like he lost. He forgot good he's a striker. There's a moment in the first half they pass him in the box and he's alone with one defender. Instead of turning and figuring out a way to take a shot at the keeper, he passes Usirino who's around two players and the ball was lost. And I was like, Duba, sometimes you don't want a striker who, because he has been lacking chances in the game or lacking supply, that he forgets who he is. Because even in the second half, he did a run behind, Unqobo found him, and he just took a casual shot. So those are the things I wanted to talk about. The rest of the videos I'm going to try to later today, where I sum up what I feel about the game. But yeah, and the big thing I'm going to say about this, guys, is that 3 points is very important. Say what you want about the game, but 3 points is very important. Amakhosi for life.